Welcome, everybody. If you're here to draw, you're in the right place. Just a reminder, you see the big Visual Arts Passage sign up there that Drawing Hive is brought to you by Visual Arts Passage. Timmy and I don't have a lot to hang our hats on, so we're hanging it on that. Visual Arts Passage, if you don't know, we are a resource, online resource for artists, emerging artists that want to develop careers in illustration and in the fine arts world, as painters mostly. And then we're developing some things, just got rolling with some visual development stuff and really excited about it. Just kicked it off and it's really, really cool. So if you have any interest, check us out. And let's talk about what we're going to do tonight. Timmy, I didn't write the episode down.
That's all good.
I didn't want to mess up this photograph. I just think it's so cool.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It's episode 234.
Okay, 234 Thursdays we've gotten together to do this. There's something wrong with us, so I'm not sure. Maybe we just like it. But David Lynch unfortunately passed away just very recently. Great filmmaker. He was also a painter. And we just decided to pull some topics of some reference from some movies. And so there we got David Lynch. This was Timmy demanded this, The Fablesmans.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
So I have not seen it, but man, that's one hell of a photograph. I love it. From Twin Peaks, Sherilyn Fenn and Kyle MacLachlan. And then we also have another Twin Peaks, Sherilyn. Couldn't avoid it, just too beautiful. And then the last one, beautiful in their own way, Eraserhead, Jack Nance. This is a great photo.
Yeah, super beautiful.
I was
Epic hair. Epic hair.
I've been kind of playing around with that one to get started. It was fun, really fun. So for those of you who don't know that are new to us, we're going to be doing 3 poses, 2 20-minute poses, and then 1 longer pose, a 40-minute pose. We have 4 pieces of reference. If you want to do 4 20-minute poses, do all 4 reference, that's fine. Or if you want to stick to one all the way all night long, just draw 2 hours on one pose, you're welcome to. I think it's fun for, push-ups and sit-ups to try to do a few of them. It helps. And one more thing before we get started, we're really lucky tonight to have a guest. And Nikki Smetters. Nikki, thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you for having me. And please forgive my, got it fixed.
Yay.
All right. See your hands.
I've never actually filmed myself working before. So this is a new process.
Right on. What better way than to do it live?
Nikki, the trick is don't look at the screen. Just look at your piece. Don't look at the screen. But then after you feel like, I've gotten somewhere, look at your screen. Sometimes it looks a lot better. That's what I've found.
True. And I don't want people to realize that it's not looking good.
Last week, Cassandra kept saying, "Oh man, I love what you're doing." And I was like, "Oh my God, it looks awful." And then I looked up at the screen and I was like, "Hey, that's not bad. That looks pretty good."
Right. It looked really good, John.
But then I look at it across the room right now, it's not so good. So, all right. Nikki, thank you. Nikki, you're an instructor, part of faculty at CCAD. I think you did got your Bachelor of Fine Arts from there in illustration, your BFA, and then you went on to the MFA at School of Visual Arts and got to study with Marshall Ayersman. And so 2 things: you studied with Chris Payne, which rock star illustrator, Hall of Fame illustrator, somebody I've known since I was a teenager, was a student of my father's. And that had to be an unbelievable experience. Chris Payne, truly one of the greatest living working illustrators. And then you got to study with Marshall Ayersman and many more, which we can talk about later on. But Marshall was a really special individual, great educator, great, very groundbreaking illustrator. During the 70s and 80s, late 70s, mid 80s, he just crushed it. And good. I mean, fantastic. I want to talk more about it. So let's
I don't think anyone who's met Marshall didn't want to talk more about Marshall.
just like the sweetest guy, and he actually knew Picasso. And
Oh,
he,
well,
That's
and he
great.
told great stories about Picasso. I just thought that was so cool.
I just want to tell people one more time. So please share your work with us throughout the night. If this is your first time joining us, everybody tuning in is going to be drawing. There's a lot of people here tonight. The room is packed. We're all going to be drawing, painting, except for me. And please post your work to Instagram. I just dropped the tags and everything in the chat. And also, if everyone behaves, I've opened the chat to everyone. So be sure to toggle from panelists and hosts to everyone, unless it's a complaint or something mean. And then you can just send it to Ray when he logs
Dale
on.
Stefanos.
Yeah. But please tell us where you're tuning in from, what material you're using, etc. Anybody, Cassandra, John, are you guys doing anything different tonight? Are
well,
you
last week
sticking
I
to
did
the-
markers. I'm back with paint again.
back with paint? Nikki, what materials are you going to use?
I'm gonna do a hodgepodge, which is my go-to for trying to work quickly. Yes.
Yeah. Which no one told you, Nikki, but no one on the panel really follows the time rules.
I will say for the first 2 years I did. I was very good. But now I'm on year 4 and I'm like, I'm just painting one.
It's like it was like the MLB, like everybody's juicing, and you're like, everyone's doing it. I'm going to. You
Yeah,
just
like
go-
I am there. And now I'm like, I love being here and I'm gonna do one, maybe two.
Yeah, so take your time. Panelists get special treatment. They tend to go past that 20-minute mark.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, John's just 2 minutes in on that one.
Oh no. I mean, I honestly I did 2 drawings. I started
Yeah.
drawing at 6:30.
Yeah.
That was my other setup. And I'm doing really soft to Sennelier crayons tonight.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna probably totally screw them up because I'm not gonna put any acrylics down underneath, or I mean build up in the acrylics. I'm just gonna try to obliterate this with paint thinner and then paint back into it.
Nice. So Nikki, we shared some of your artwork, and I really love it.
Me
One of the
too.
questions I had when I asked like what you were, I think we might have asked this before you went live. I asked like what you were planning to do tonight, and you were like, it's not gonna. Are you going with like a different process or like kind of a different approach because of the makeup of tonight, or like what's?
Yes, but it's not that it's forcing my hand. It's I prefer to work loosely when I don't have a ton of time because I don't think any of you have 2 weeks to sit and watch the way I
Yeah.
normally work. But
Yeah.
it's really nice exercise when I'm painting along with drawing Hive because it reminds me of what's important.
Yeah.
Like I
Which
find
is-
myself prioritizing differently.
Yeah.
That's well said, Nikki. And something I like to try to think about, like I try to like force myself to do things a little bit differently in here than I would if I was, had an assignment and the time to, because I'm generally not a very fast artist. Not real fast anyway.
You all, everybody on the drawing Hive that's painted in front of the crowd, you'll all appreciate this. This morning, I had an online edit in Zoom. So I had a bunch of people on a Zoom call that watched me as I edited in real time.
Oh, no
And
pressure.
Was that fun?
it was terrifying. Because the other thing is, so I set up the Zoom call. It's actually technically very difficult to stream Adobe Premiere and have the audio and everything look nice and be able to talk and hear myself. And like, it's actually, it sounds so simple. Like, oh, you should just be able to share Premiere. It's way more. And then like, oh yeah, it's a nightmare. Like they'll ask like, do we have a second take of that? And you got to know where it is. Cause if you don't know, it means you're not organized. So, oh man, I felt I felt what you guys were feeling, I think.
I recommend just bombing, and once you get that over with, then it all doesn't feel so bad.
Did you feel like
Yeah.
you were naked at school?
Yeah, if I had bombed, they would just be like, let's never hire that guy again. it's it's a little bit less of a captive audience.
Right.
Do you have that part of you that hates anyone seeing you mid-edit? Is there like that stage in the painting where
I would not do what I did today with a lot of people because they don't understand like they don't have like what's a great example? There are certain things where like I'll be like, what do you want it to be? I understand you don't like what is here now. What do you want it to be? And then I can just put the notes and be like, okay, I'm gonna do that, but like we're gonna be wasting everyone's time if you guys watch me doing like motion graphics.
What's the equivalent of
But
like some people don't
but
understand the ugly painting phase doesn't mean that's how it'll finish. Like
yeah, so like
it's like that in editing.
yeah, absolutely.
Have you
Uh,
worked with them before, Timmy?
yes. Yeah,
Mhm.
And they're
and I
familiar with your work?
we have a shorthand. We have a short, yeah, it's people it's a person I've worked with that understands my shorthand. They understand, like I understand theirs. We've got like a feel like I can I can leave a note. It'd be kind of like if you this is a dumb example maybe, but it's like if you have like this really great design and everything and you just wrote up in the corner like sunset, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And you're
Mm-hmm.
just like imagine it. That's where it's going to be.
That's
And
okay. That's good.
Yeah.
what's that?
That's good.
Yeah,
I like that.
it's like a that's essentially where we are at, or things like that, or um. But I've worked with people before that get freaked out. They they lose their cool because they don't understand. I'm showing them the shape,
Mm-hmm.
not the finished product. You know what I mean?
Right.
It
We were just had a similar conversation, Timmy, in portfolio class,
yeah
talking about showing work to art directors and like a really smart thing that actually Dale Stefano said it. He said, always like kind of suggest like, hey, what were the images that you hired me for? And what images that you saw of mine that made you want to hire me? And that's why I was asking about if they were comfortable with you, if they knew what you did. That is sometimes it's like getting their trust or getting their confidence.
yeah
No, you're going to do it, but sometimes people aren't very patient about it.
yeah, or they just it's overwhelming. I think
Right.
they're just like, oh, there's so many things that have to get left done, and you're just like, no, it's really not that bad. You just, I always tell people that the hardest part of the edit is like the shaping of it, not the finishing. Like,
Right.
I mean,
Absolutely.
it, it's really funny what people freak out about and what they don't. What's the editor? I can't believe I can't think of her name. Um, Martin Scorsese's editor. What's her name? Thelma Schoonmaker. Schoonmaker or Schoonmaker. I mean, maybe one of the most iconic editors of all time. And she like kind of famously was um consistency or like consistency frame to frame. She was just like, doesn't matter at all. Like everybody thinks it matters a ton. And if you watch a lot of Scorsese films, she breaks a lot of the rules of editing that people would say like polish, but she's really talking about like it's all about shape, like completely, which I totally agree with. Um,
We've never heard that before.
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, I'm like just she doesn't say that, but like I in my opinion, that's what she means, which is just like that's the big stuff, not like fading at the right moment. I don't know. Yeah. I think she also said like the best score is a score that you don't hear or think about at all.
I
Just
don't know
kind
if sometimes I agree with that and sometimes I don't.
yeah. Like No Country for Old Men has no score to it. There's no music in the whole film. And it's kind of like makes that like silence is the score, which is cool. But nobody ever knows it. Whereas there's a lot of movies that would be really hard. You'd be like, something, it feels like something's missing.
But then some like Jaws, like the score is part of the character of the shark. Like they don't show the shark,
Yeah.
you just hear the score.
Yeah. I personally think that that is amazing for its time, but I don't think anybody could get away with that today. I think it would be corny today.
I think that's true for a lot of
Yeah.
70s and 80s era.
But it's amazing. I'm not saying that it was corny then. It was not corny then, and it's cool still. But I don't know.
Well, it's because we've changed, like, and it was
Yeah.
done already. Like
It was done
then
already,
it
but
wasn't, it hadn't really been done like that.
I'm trying to think of a contemporary movie that does that. If somebody can come up with one, I'd like to know about it. There's probably something. But yeah, you're right, Cassandra. Yeah, it's not. I'm not saying scores are dumb. But yeah, cool. We were talking. We unfortunately are not going to be able to entertain a ton of David Lynch. We have no David Lynch aficionados on the panel tonight. I am a big fan of David Lynch's hair. I do. I love reading like what he has to say, and like his interviews are incredible.
Oh,
Amazing.
he's the epitome of cool.
He's the coolest, really inspiring artist. As John mentioned, painter as well. And just like had a ton of like, it's funny for how disturbing so many of his movies and everything he did was, how uplifting so many of his interviews are. You're like, oh, wow, whoa, this is the same guy. But yeah, amazing, amazing head of hair. I mean, like the best. You know, like if that hair was for sale, I can't imagine.
That could be a theme. Great hair nights.
Great hair night. Oh, David Lynch would for sure be on Great Hair Night.
Waits.
Yeah, I did. We would definitely have to make a rule that it's all natural, like no
No wigs.
no plugs. No plugs. No I would even say finasteride and Propecia, get out of here. And yeah.
I don't know if I would know if they had used it or not.
Yeah, it'd be hard. We would just go by rumors. We would, and just I think it's safe to assume like every like every celebrity like top of the world star right now. I think it's all I think all their hair is fake.
Oh, John, that looks cool seeing you smear that.
It really does. John, when do you want to do your
Can
education?
I finish this part of it?
Okay.
Because stopping and starting. I mean, it'll
Right
probably only take me like another 5 minutes or so.
All right. Everybody say a prayer that Raymond knows a bunch about David Lynch because he's
Of course he
here.
does. It's Raymond.
Oh, he's not gonna know. He's not gonna know.
I told him it was Josh Allen night, so that's
know what.
Yeah, Ray. Question: Big David Lynch fan?
Well,
Oh no!
I will say not really, but
I know who we need
respect for-
tonight. I know who we need tonight. It's Dale.
Mm.
has a show gone ill that fast?
We need Dale. No, we've got Nikki tonight, which is really exciting. Awesome.
Awesome.
Ray, what are you working with tonight? What's this medium?
What are these shenanigans?
Yeah.
It's a pixel-based renderer
Nice.
made by a new company called Adobe.
Nice. Super supportive.
How about you, Timmy? What are you working with?
Oh, no.
Jay.
Oh, nice.
Radio
Thanks.
silence mostly.
Yeah.
And David Lynch trivia.
Yeah. Yeah, no. You know what? We're just tributing to him, and that is enough.
Okay, so well, I will say that like I don't know if I'm the generation kind of cross him
Yeah.
slightly.
Ray, you got real choppy
That's-
audio.
Oh, I
Real,
do?
yeah,
Yeah, you're
unfortunately.
kind of going in and out of it.
You might want to do
Sorry, is that better?
a disconnect, reconnect or something. Let's see. I don't know.
Okay. I don't know. I'll be right back.
Sounds good now.
Well, yeah, it did.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I do think that there was a bit of a generation leap. Everybody, I thought I turned on the chat, but I didn't. So it's
Oh,
open
I
now.
was wondering. I was like, oh, no one wants to tell us where they are.
Yeah,
Okay.
everybody, select everyone and tell us where you're tuning in from.
Yeah, I always love to see where everyone is.
Yeah.
I like watched part of season 1 of Twin Peaks, and it's not that I didn't enjoy it. I just got distracted, and then I started watching another thing. I haven't finished it. I always mean to.
It's just a blind spot of mine.
Oh, it's a blind spot for you too?
Yeah. Yeah. I just didn't want to hide it
Wow.
from everybody, but yeah. We're honest here. We're honest here.
Have you
I
seen?
feel like as
Well,
an X-Files fan, I should be more of a Twin Peaks fan.
That's how I feel.
Yeah. Huge yeah, I'm an X-Files fan as well.
Have you seen Timmy? Have you seen any of his movies?
Oh yeah, Blue Velvet. I've seen some Twin Peaks.
Mulholland Drive.
Mulholland Drive. Like I said before we went live, it's one of those things where you're like, this movie isn't made for me, and I would never, ever say that it was not good. I
right.
am totally confident in saying not made for me. Maybe too smart for me.
Oh,
Maybe perhaps I am like where I'm literally like, I just don't think I'm smart enough for David Lynch movies. I think they're for very smart people.
that's how I feel about Christopher Nolan movies like Tenet.
No, I think Tenet was a jigsaw puzzle, not, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was just a jigsaw puzzle, not like a riddle. It was just
I
it was just
never finished it.
It was a
yeah.
jigsaw puzzle beyond me then.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was like somebody's telling you a really great riddle or somebody just throwing a bunch of puzzle pieces at you and been like, figure it out. I heard somebody say it was like Christopher Nolan got a great script and loaded a shotgun with it and shot it at the audience. I was like, yeah, it kind of makes sense too. Yeah. Yeah, but no, I love
It was a t-shirt canon of Christopher Nolan movies.
yeah, I do think like the sweetest thing though this like past week has just been like reading and listening to really inspiring David. It's unbelievable how thoughtful he was when in interviews and like really just so super inspirational. Just like very sweet and inspirational as far as like the entire like artist journey, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Hey, John, someone's asking about your process. Can you kind of explain what you've been doing
Not
and
sure.
working with?
I drew this in Sennelier oil crayon, and then I've taken a brush and dipped it in paint thinner, turpenoid actually, and I'm just moving stuff around and just kind of seeing where it goes and getting it to a place where I have something to work with, and then I'll go back and paint back into it here in a few minutes.
Because that kind of melts it, right?
Yeah, it just dissolves. It just pushes it around, dissolves it.
It's very trippy.
Like painting for, I don't know. Careful what I say.
Well, it looks awesome.
Yeah, it's looking cool.
Yeah, it's looking great.
You know what it looks like right now a little bit? It reminds me a little bit of Tony Rodriguez at the moment.
Oh,
That's
oh,
pretty
whoa.
And you're not
Yeah.
talking about his approach. You're talking about
Like it looks a little bit like Tony
physically
right
how he
now.
looks. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, I'll send it. Oh man, he would know David Lynch.
Oh, heck yeah.
Anybody knows anything about David Lynch?
All right.
I think Tony would appreciate a portrait of him that looked like a Eraserhead.
I think he would too.
You can make that happen. I can make a phone call from this room. We could call Tony right now and be like, "You're live on Drawing Hive."
Oh my God. Can you do something with like a dial tone and like ringing the whole nine? Like the sound of a rotary phone
No,
dialing his number.
Boop, 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 boop.
Yeah. No, we can, but I do think that is a quick way to make somebody not like me.
Like,
Yeah.
hey, what are you doing
Well, if
right
they
now?
have any,
Yeah.
You know, if anybody we
Yeah.
deal with, he would handle it well.
He
He
would.
would handle it well, and
Yeah.
he's one of the few that I would trust. It wouldn't backfire. And you know, back when it was before Mark Maron had the podcast WTF, he had a show on it was like podcasting before podcast. It was an internet show, but he would call his dad, get him on the phone, like on the radio, and then would just ask. His dad was the movie critic for their show, but his dad did not know that he was on the radio. So they would just
Amazing.
ask him about movies, and his dad would review a movie, not knowing that an audience was listening.
Okay, I love that.
Amazing.
His dad has
It was
all these
just-
memories of these really sweet conversations with his son.
Yeah. Yeah. His dad was not like that. It was mostly just because his dad was like kind of belligerent.
It
Yeah.
wasn't like
Yeah, it wasn't sweet. It wasn't sweet. Yeah. So this is great stuff. John, you let me know when you want that.
I'm almost there, Timmy. I'm
All right.
little tiny corner right here. And then I'm gonna put a note on here and said I screwed this up because Timmy wanted me to do.
Well, no. Well, take your time.
I'm teasing.
In the meantime, it's time to move on to that. We're at the 20-minute mark, so move on to that second image. Please post it to Instagram now. Don't wait till the end. It's hashtag Drawing Hive, hashtag Drawing Hive 224, and at Visual Arts Passage. Post it now. We're going to check it out at the end of the episode. It's my favorite part. Cool.
Had a really weird angle on my picture, I just realized.
It looks great,
Oh,
though.
but you got his likeness perfect.
Yeah,
Already.
it's wild.
There's like no question who it is. I love it.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Really
Yeah, it's
is.
really good. I think we're just gonna have to have you slow down and maybe mess it up a little bit to make us feel better, Nikki. That'd be
Yeah,
great.
yeah. It's kind of too good, too
Just
fast.
a note. Just a
I need
note.
to figure out
Just a
how to
quick note.
zoom too, because I feel like when I look at you were right, John. I should never look at the screen because this is probably what it looks like, and then it looks like this.
Yeah, no, it looks great. It looks great.
Looks
Flat.
great.
I have a question because I kind of forgot. What shapes did you start with on this?
I just made a really basic block of his
Mm-hmm.
face, and because I never really get it right the first time, I don't worry if I have to like down here around his collar fix it later on.
Mhm.
Which is why I like drawing Hive. It makes me work much more loosely.
Mhm.
I work a lot faster. I don't worry about overlapping things. I'll probably, if I make it to a third figure, I'll probably just, I don't know, stick it over around here somewhere.
Mhm.
All I can see right now is Tony Rodriguez.
Sorry. Did I
Whoever
mess you
said
up
it,
that way?
thank you so much. Okay.
That was Dale. Dale totally said it.
Yeah.
Yeah, all I could see was Tony at first.
Okay. Timmy, whenever you are ready. All right. So I thought it would be fun tonight to do a great American painter, an icon, somebody we haven't really gone very far with or talked about much that I can remember anyway. And I chose this guy.
Yeah.
How about that? And I know that Cassandra and Ray and Nikki have nothing to say about him. So I'll,
Hopper who?
uh, pardon me, Edward who? Yeah. Dennis Hopper? Wasn't he an actor? Yeah. All right. Born in 1882, lived through here in the States, lived in the United States to 1967. He was born in Nyack, New York, and he became a great painter. Wanted to be a painter as a young man. So you can see this is Nighthawks is one of his most famous pieces of work, but he did this piece, I think, when he was 10. What does that say? Does that say 1897?
1897, yeah.
Okay, he was older than that. He was 15. And he knew at a very young age he wanted to be an artist. He was a son of successful businessmen that allowed him to do what to chase an art career in the early 20th century. And so here's a self-portrait, nice painting. It's kind of I'm going to kind of organize these a little bit chronologically, but not exactly. Another portrait painting. He started out. He ended up going to which is now Parsons, what was the New York School of Art, I think. And he studied at the New York School of Art with William Merritt Chase, very successful American impressionist, and also Robert Henry, which we've briefly spoken about in the last few episodes, talking about the book, The Art Spirit. Ray, you're welcome to jump in anytime here, but or Cassandra and Nikki, you add whatever you want. But he kind of started off looking at Degas. While he was in school, he was looking at the Impressionists. He was very influenced by Monet and Degas, and his work almost had an impressionistic slant to it long before he developed what we know. In the meantime, when he got out of school, his parents were very adamant about him studying a commercial track as an artist. And so he was an illustrator and a designer the first part of his career. And that's a beautiful piece. Great poster with a nice illustration. And he kind of worked at that to the early 20s. It was probably 1921, 1922 when things really started to take off for him of selling artwork. He also did etchings. There's a couple of his etchings. I think these are dry points. And then he became very proficient at watercolor. And this was a little bit later on because it was out in Cape Cod. He maintained a residence in New York his whole life. He was very introverted. He didn't let the success get to his head. One, I'll show you later on, one of the things that he did once he started, when he first really started selling paintings, is he bought a house on Cape Cod. And he would split his time between New York and Cape Cod. This is some of his watercolor works. And these are some of my favorite things of his. His very direct landscape paintings. I saw a show of, and they might have been permanent collection at the Whitney. In fact, I think they are. But I saw a body of his work probably 25, maybe 30 years ago at the Whitney Museum in New York. And it really made me wanted to do landscape. It's one of the things that pushed me in that direction. I really connected to these paintings.
They're beautiful.
I don't know why I haven't shown him earlier. I just think his landscapes are just extremely good.
Oh yeah.
Really enigmatic of how um, Robert Henry thought about painting too. Is all in the big masses of forms. Everything is just put down with direct paint, lots of paint, and just trying to be the simplest expression of the largest masses in a picture. That head painting that you showed was like, if you read the, for those of you who have ever read the Art Spirit, if you go to where he was talking about head painting, that's like a textbook example of what he was talking about. It's all large masses, and this landscape is the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely adore this direction. They got grit. And I was, man, I was so excited when I saw these things in person.
It's really interesting how he differs from, his classmates like Bellows and Sloan. They have a lot of similarities to them, but
Yeah, he
also at the
was,
same time they go off on different routes of it.
yeah, he was really, I think that the connection, the link between them, like um, was it the Elite Eight or the eight, what, not the Elite Eight, what was that? That ended up becoming Ashcan School. The Eight, it was just called. And the original, it's like Robert Henry, John Sloan, Pendergrast, George Bellows, uh, later on William Blackens, um, but a lot of painters that Henry also influenced, and he was kind of in the middle of all that. I don't know if he was ever. I think people would look at his work and say, he was connected to the Ashcan School, but not part of that original eight.
Mm-hmm. Kind of in the same way, like Maxfield Parrish
Yeah,
is connected to the Brandywine, but really didn't
adjacent in a way. Yeah,
right.
look at this thing. Look how direct that is. I love his paintings of homes and lighthouses.
Love lighthouses.
It's such a great way, a simplification, big groupings of shapes that I translated into, the really famous work that we all know.
Mhm.
He the intimate, I think of his work and it's like this intimate look at, people in public spaces or private spaces. It's just, it's like they're very, I don't know, focused on, isolation.
Yeah, and like it wasn't like if you look at like Bellows and Sloan, they were really about capturing. They were really like visual journalists in the sense that they were capturing the hustle and bustle and the growth of New York City and the reality of it. He was much more of a more isolated. You know, like you never see like entire crowds of people
Right.
in his paintings.
This is a mural. I don't know where it hangs, but I know it's a mural. Cool piece. There's a sense of, you know, late even or early evening, late afternoon that, it's really special in this painting. Great light.
There's an Edward Hopper at the Columbus Museum of Art. That's on my list of paintings to visit every time I go in there.
Cool.
Nice.
It's
Which
nice.
one is it? If you don't mind me asking.
Morning Sun. Lady on her bed. She's got her arms wrapped around her knees. I think she's looking out the window.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think this is his wife.
His wife was his like primary model. Yeah.
Must have been.
I think I may have that in here. Maybe. I can't remember.
I got it. I got it on my.
That's so cool.
Ooh.
I've seen that painting.
Really? Where is it?
Yeah. Well, I saw it at there was a retrospective. It was another retrospective at the Whitney of his work, and I got a chance to see it there. And the darks are there's so much happening in the
Yeah.
painting. That's the thing about these.
Yeah, you can't see them.
The photos never do it justice. Really cool stuff.
Great work. These are some of my favorites right here.
This is the type of stuff that makes me like the narrative of it. The quiet narrative,
Right.
and
Yep.
especially around
Smoking a
that
cigarette.
time. Yeah. You could tell they were really kind of almost like a parallel between a lot of the French artists
Yeah.
in Paris, painting the everyday.
Mhm.
You can
But this
definitely
is
get
his everyday.
the influence of Degas and Lautrec in here. This is one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
It
yeah.
kills me. And the next one,
Mhm.
I think, is my favorite. I love this painting.
That's a good one.
Pay attention to that out there, that little landscape. This is his New York studio. But as things started to happen for him, this became his studio in Cape Cod.
Oh my gosh.
Look
It
at that.
Do you know
only
where in
gets
Cape Cod
you
that is?
I don't know,
envious.
but you should be, that's real close to you, right?
Might
You
be.
know,
Yeah.
I'm surprised Dale's never said anything to me. He told me everywhere to go in Cape Cod, and he didn't tell me to go here.
I think Dale was saving that for himself.
Yeah,
Did you go by Edward Gorey's house in Cape Cod?
I didn't.
Oh, it's a great one too.
And here's a couple of shots of him.
Oh.
Pretty serious looking dude.
Mhm.
Well, he was definitely a serious artist, but they said he was a very nice man, but a very private man. And his wife did all his interviews. I mean, she ran his career and they said it was just a perfect match. So, anyway, that's my spiel, my little educational talk tonight. Not very, detailed, but kind of a look at Edward Hopper.
Great one. Thanks, John.
Sure.
Awesome.
I'm gonna.
Yeah, I really recommend the Art Spirit for those of you that haven't
Mhm.
read it before. You'll understand Hopper so much more, I think. He embodies a lot of that.
I always like when there's a bit of the like the old Victorian problem pictures, that decade in the 1880s, where I think it was mostly English artists that would do the paintings where there is a context that is evident, but you don't know and it's not explained to you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by that?
It's so one would be called what was its name? Like the rebellious daughter or something, and she'd be shown positioned by a door in such a way that you couldn't tell if she was going out or coming back in. And there was a very defiant stance. And so there, there's more of a story there, but it's never explained to you what that is. Like there's not enough clues in the picture for you to really suss it out, start to finish.
Hmm.
And I've always liked when a painting is so self-assured in its narrative that it doesn't feel the need to fill in the gaps as far as what's going on. Like it doesn't need to put any more clues in the picture.
Yeah. I think that's what I love about, like, for me, that's the very best of people like Harvey Dunn
Hmm.
or Dean Cornwell, when like the most subtlest of narratives, not their more bombastic paintings, but like the romance like illustrations. They're really, really subtle. You don't know what's going on until you like really look into it, and it's like a stare, a real subtlety that you would think like with reproduction being what it was at that time, it's almost like they put that in for themselves almost, you know, to kind of have that extra depth painting.
Yeah, the problem with the oil crayons, they're so soft, but they're messy. But if I hold several of them in my hand, I can't tell what color they are. They all become the same color.
That might be a problem.
I'm trying to figure out what's what here.
Nikki, I was wanting to ask you, how long have you been an instructor?
I'm still relatively new. This is my, I think, I just started my fourth semester.
Oh, amazing. So what do you feel like, especially like the new era of education? Like what have you been enjoying about it?
Well, it's part of it is still quite an adjustment because, like John was talking about, my instructors were primarily very old school illustrators, and
Mhm.
I growing up, I mostly looked at very old school artists and picture
Mhm.
books, and that was what I really based myself around.
Mhm.
It's been a
You
little
went to SVA, right?
for MFA, yeah.
Yeah.
And so there's Marshall, there was Carl, and it's a, I mean, it's very welcoming of many of the contemporary artists are there, illustrator wise, but I always felt like I had one foot in 1902, and that's not changed.
I
I
hear
feel
that.
I'm 1912, so I'm about 10 years ahead.
I feel more
1912 to
1890s.
1920.
Yeah, Ray's a total poser.
So there is a bit of a challenge in finding, and because of the internet and
Yeah,
so many varied, we've talked about this a little bit, so many varied
yeah,
artists that you can follow online
yeah.
I can ask every student in my class who their favorite artists are and never hear a repeat answer. Whereas when I was at school, you would have heard the same half dozen names the entire time.
John and I
Yeah.
talk about that. We talk about that a lot. Neither complete, just as an observation, because it's very strange. We're not saying it's good or bad, but the shift, probably, especially for you, John. But I mean, I haven't even been doing this that long, and I've noticed it in the past 10 years of being able to go to a school and talk with, um, you know, 10 to 20 students that are currently in an art program or an illustration program and say, what do you want to do? And then they'll say, I want to do cover art or I want to do editorial. And then we'll say, who is doing that you love? And it is very common, I would say more common than not, that they actually don't know a name. They have a lot of people that they follow and stuff. John, did I kind of butcher that? It's
Well, they don't know a lot of the names that we expect them to know. Let's put
they
it that way.
definitely don't know the names we expect them to know, but then it's more common that they're just like, I just have a lot of art that I see often, or it'll be like, oh, I only know their handle or things like that, which we're just
Right.
starting to sound like we're both just sound like it makes me sound like an old man that's like, why don't you know the name? But that's not what I'm trying to say. It's just a shift in like how people
Okay.
chase things. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's always a question of trying to find the artists that will
Yeah.
not necessarily that they'd recognize right away, but that they'd connect with once they learned who that person was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so James Jean is probably my most reliable. Oh, he
Yeah.
did Fables covers and now he does
Yeah.
gallery work and they respond pretty well to that work.
There definitely is a value and so like I think this is gonna make me sound like I'm like against like the current like trend like that I just described, but I'm really not. But I do think there is a value in any type of art, like when you're just consuming what gets served to you on like any platform, whether that be like Instagram
Mhm.
or even ArtStation, that that is great. Like you're seeing a ton of images and you're seeing things that you like and you're being exposed to a lot, but like none of it is like really vetted in any way other than just like some type of algorithm. And I'm sure you'll get fed things that like happen to be like a hopper, right? Like you're gonna see that. But like if you're like an unseasoned artist, you don't like you're not building a hierarchy and maybe that's great because like you're like it's not like locking people out of like being at that like higher level that maybe deserve to be considered at that level. But then I do think like there's like a foundation. Like when I was in photography, like I went to the photographers that I really respected, and they were like, "Look, if you want to be good at this, you need to study the greats. Here are the 10 great. You need to know these 10 greats like the back of your hand, you know."
Right.
And
You know
and
what it reminds me
that's
of, Timmy?
yeah, because I liked a lot of
Like,
photographers that as I got better, I learned like, ooh, those were not good photographers. Like,
well, it's like those source books, you know, in
yeah,
illustration. And I know they have them in photography too, where like
yeah,
you get like they get sent out to all these art directors, and people take out ads in them, and
uh-huh,
it's just chock full. You just served these all these artists that are presented on an equal playing field, right? And
uh-huh,
you think like, well, this is they're equally celebrated, but it's not necessarily the case. You know, something might look
yeah.
flashy. You know, you could develop like bad taste or go down bad, you know, paths
It's an,
that will hinder
yeah,
your growth.
uh-huh. It's a very, I mean, my take is very nuanced. Like, it's not, I'm not saying there's a binary, like, there's good things to both sides of it, I guess.
Yeah,
Um, and if you just put all your eggs in one basket, I guess it could be detrimental.
it almost
Yeah,
makes it harder though.
I don't discourage any style of art for them to look at, but I think
Uh,
one thing I do emphasize, especially because I just had this conversation with a lot of my students yesterday and asking them, okay, what do you want to do? And they tell me, and
yeah,
well, who's doing it? Or I even try to softball it with if there was a project, an existing IP, because a lot of them were giving me concept artists, character
uh-huh,
answers, and I'd say, well, okay, well, if you could pick a project or a studio to do that for right now, who would it be? And I asked them in an effort to help them clarify their focus because often the
uh-huh,
people that they're fans of or the businesses that they're fans of are not really turning out the kind of work that they're doing at the moment.
that's
Good
really
point.
interesting. That's super interesting. So it's like, yeah, liking something that maybe there's a difference between like just because you like something doesn't mean that you should do it. Yeah.
Well, also you can be inspired by it, but like it may not be the source to help guide you in a direction you like career-wise.
Hmm.
Like we were talking about that in class. Like, what's the difference between influence and a muse? Like for our class, you know, if you're an influence, they influence your style and maybe how you work. If they're a muse, there's somebody that you can follow their career and like see what they do to help guide you with ideas for yourself.
Right. And it's I mean I have a ton of influences that don't directly affect what I do, but maybe affect how I think. So it's not like
Hmm.
but it's this particular so usually I teach color theory and pre-press. I'm a print nerd. It's really what I really like doing. Um, but I also have self-promo this semester. So I look at it very much as planning your next steps because these are all upperclassmen and really your talk, John, about narrowing the focus of your portfolio is something that's always really great for them to hear.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I've already warned this new class about what I call the scattershot portfolio, where it's you don't have to be restricted in what you're doing, but you do need to know what you want to do or are striving for because the steps you take are going to look different depending on what that answer is.
Really great.
What do you in the self promo class, like what is most of the work or focus, or like what is the biggest hurdle you see in that class?
So a lot of it is just getting the professional documents together, the resume, the website.
Yeah.
But in the process of getting that website together, it's what goes on that website, which is where a lot of that portfolio work comes in, as well as who are you pitching this work to? How are you
Yeah.
approaching people? Where are you finding them to approach? But I like to introduce uncomfortable conversations, because at this point, a lot of them are not confident, and they're not at the stage yet where they think it's okay to be confident.
Oh.
And so some of the very last projects, I make them talk about who they anticipate their competition being. And last semester, I had several people tell me, well, I don't feel comfortable thinking of other people as competition. I said, that doesn't mean you don't respect them.
Yeah.
You absolutely respect your competition. You can form friendships with them, but
Yeah.
the job's not going to both of you.
That is interesting. The idea of competition being so negative, or like conflict based, and it's really not. I mean, for the maybe people who feel more insecure, or even more desperate, I understand how it can happen, but there's a awesome, I mean, there's I've had some of my best friendships have been with people that I was like a direct competitor with when I did photography.
Mhm.
There were a couple times where we were nasty to each other, but perhaps we said things about each other behind our back, but only like in a brotherly love.
Right.
No, I love that
Yeah.
idea that you introduce uncomfortable
Yeah.
conversations, because I feel like that often hits you once you get out of school and you're left floundering trying to figure out how to answer them. So to ask them
Yeah.
in a place where they have a time to think about it and work on it, I think that's so important. That's really great.
Yeah, I just try and push them around. The other thing they don't like to do is put a pin in their ambitions. So
What do you mean
I
by
try to,
that? Yeah.
I say it's okay to say, I want to get into the Society of Illustrators. I want to
Uh-huh.
get into the Communication Arts Annual. I want to
Yeah.
land on the New York Times bestseller list. I said, it's okay to have those goals. It doesn't make you arrogant, and you're not overreaching by having goals like that.
Right. I think that the mistake that's made is no one is entitled to those things.
Right. Yeah.
But it absolutely makes sense to want them, because I think very few people who've acquired those things got them and didn't have that desire. I think very few people have won Academy Awards whose like goal was not, God, someday I really want to win an Academy Award. I think probably everyone that's ever won one probably thought, man, it'd be really nice if I won this thing. I mean, yeah. Yeah, nobody wins a championship like passively, right?
Right. I mean,
Um,
that's ambition. You need to have some
yeah.
ambition to have a chance at succeeding, right? Like, I mean, there's too much of everything.
Um, yeah.
A lot,
Yeah, I it's it's funny.
a lot of the artists I've known all my life were all pretty competitive people, at least illustrators.
Mhm.
I mean, they like to, compete in, games. Certainly in their careers, they look at, oh, I want to accomplish this. And I definitely people with goals. Um, and I think it's really good for artists to, have, to set goals for themselves. And I also think it's really healthy for artists to learn a lot about the people that are doing what they want to do. Understanding the industry and who's doing it, I think is just, you can't replace that. You got to know, why are those people getting hired and I'm not?
I
Or
think it also sets expectations a lot more realistically, right? when you're aware of the quality of work, of what the demands of the given market that they want to go into. You know, what does that work look like, and how does it compare to your work? And I think that if students are, you know, taught to or encouraged to say, hey, use this as a platform to grow on rather than feel bad, I think like the sky's the limit, because that's what everyone else has done.
Yeah. Historically, yeah, I completely get that.
Someone asked, do we think it has anything to do, like the new generation of everyone gets an award and no one wins? I don't think so, because people were saying that about my generation, like 20 years ago. Like I feel like has been like a pass it down and say this generation. It's like, I just feel, to me, that's always been like just dogging on the other generation.
Did me there's a great video that I saw at the Society of Illustrators of
Yeah.
Dean Cornwell painting, right? And it was recorded by this guy called Frank Riley, who was a really famous
Oh yeah.
teacher. And so Cornwell sat down, and it was just painting, and it was a restored copy of his film. And I only saw snippets of it, but then afterwards was an actual like monologue. Like he wrote this thing, you know, out, and he started talking about what students, how students could become successful.
Yeah.
And he talked about how students had it really easy, and you know, they're just kind of, a lot of them don't want to work hard, and
Yeah, I get, that's so tired to me. Like I just
well, it was
like,
in the 20s. It was in the 20s, you know.
oh yeah, oh yeah,
1920s.
yeah. It's
Yeah, yeah.
literally, you know, they say the same thing about like, oh, people don't want to work anymore. It's, they've been saying that for like 100 years. Like you, and I'm not
Yeah.
joking. Like literally, there's a roundup of newspapers printing that literally like every decade for the past 100 years, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
come on. Like, but I'm not trying to like, I mean, I understand that that is a, a real thing, but like, I'll just be told, I know too many Gen Zers that work really hard, that are like John. I know you talk with them all the time, that really want to make this happen, and like to say like, oh, they just are getting, you know, like they just expect their trophy. I think that's an oversimplification. Also, like they said the exact same thing about my generation, and it was just like, come
Right.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think
And
I do think it's important to say that, you know, where I don't see it so much generationally. I think people think about the career, they think about what we're doing,
Yeah.
and they don't associate hard work with it. And
Yeah.
you know, from the outsider looking in, and man, you know, the successful artists that I've been lucky to know are truly some of the most disciplined people I've ever met.
Mhm.
You're going to be good at this.
Yeah.
You're going to spend a lot of time doing it.
Well, isn't that
I
funny then? Like that
yeah.
there's a stereotype that artists are lazy. But like all the really successful ones are working nonstop.
Well, yeah, but the stereotype is based on like the zoomed out society look at art, and the art that gets headlines. And then you see a headline about like, Joe Blow sees a headline about like a banana taped to a wall, and
Right.
like they make all their assumptions based on that, and like, oh, I guess we're just giving artists trophies for anything now. And it's just like overgeneralizations, you know? And they're just like, artists are lazy, and they're not, they just completely discount all art because they see one thing that's like, a guy, I sent a lot of that to you, Cassandra, like
Yeah.
a guy on a trapeze rope like throwing a bucket of paint at a wall.
Well, I think a lot of people think of artists, you know, it's
Yeah.
soft, fluffy, cushy, flowery.
Yeah.
Look at David Lynch. Do you think
Yeah.
that guy's a hard ass or not? He's a
Oh
hard
my
ass.
God.
I
I
guarantee
can't,
you.
I
Uh,
guarantee that I would not want to, I would not want to do his like day to day. I promise you, I would not either wake up or stay up as late as he does.
yeah.
So one or the other. I don't know if he woke up early or if he went to bed late, but either way, it probably didn't fit into my schedule.
He was working nonetheless.
Yeah, exactly. Um, I think that, not to like monologue about it, but when I think of like maybe a thing that is probably more real for my generation and the next generation when it comes to general success is this idea of what success is not. I think that success used to be getting by doing what you love, like making a living doing what you love. And it used to not be like be famous, be rich from it, or be like a center,
Hire at 50.
or be the centerpiece of that industry. Um, and I feel that all the time. I feel like a lot of people, oh my God, the comedians I work with, they all have to be, every single one of them except one comedian who I love. He was very honest thing, so I'm not going to say his name, but he was messaging me about, he was like, he's not a famous comedian, and not a famous comedian at all. He's passed at the Cellar, which is, in my opinion, I think that's the biggest achievement. I mean, I know a lot of people get past there, but to be a comic that's going to the Cellar, it's like, oh man, you made it. Like, that's the highest level to me. Like, that's the
Oh, so
highest
he's
compliment.
passed like he was approved
Yeah,
versus
he's
he passed
approved.
like
So
he
he's a
turned it
regular.
down. Sorry, I
Yeah,
wasn't sure.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah. That means he was approved and that he regularly does sets at the Comedy Cellar in New York City.
Thanks, Cassandra.
Thank you. Sorry.
Sorry,
I'm usually
well, I just
complaining
felt
about.
like I
We're
was
not all in on
sure.
the industry lingo, you know what I mean?
I'm not hip and with
So-
it like the young kids.
Anyway, so he was messaging me and he was just like, dude, I am so proud that like I have enough money. I have a kid. Like I can take care of my family. I'm not rich. I'm not famous at all. But like I'm doing what I wanted to do when I was a kid. And it's like working.
That's
I'm
beautiful.
going to say that's a very timely thing because that's kind of the description I got from Edward Hopper.
Really?
He wanted to be, I mean, so 1930, 1921 or 22, he bought his Cape Cod place. So he was what, 35, 36 years old. And they said he sold 30 plus paintings that year. And that's, well, no, it was 1931. He sold the 30 plus paintings right before the Great Depression, and the amount of money was pretty extreme for that time period.
Oh, any amount of money then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was doing it with his artwork at a very high level. And he wanted to he wanted to just, hey, I just want to be able to paint my pictures and live my life in a very conservative way. And he was a very, even-tempered, very calculated individual.
Yeah.
And that's what I took away reading from it. I could be totally wrong, but I think that's what they were, suggesting. And
Yeah.
he wanted to make artwork, and he wanted to have enough means to continue on and move forward doing it.
I mean, you sure get to enjoy life more if,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Maybe,
But it's that whole
maybe I've been
concept.
doing too much meditation, but, but, and I'm not to brag, but, yeah, I just I don't think it's worth it.
Well, isn't
Oh.
it kind of like that concept, the enemy of good is perfection? Like if you're
Yeah.
aiming too high and you're doing good in what you're doing, you're missing out on the opportunity to enjoy the good.
Yep.
Yeah, I think whatever makes you happy, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like when Norman Rockwell asked J.C. Leyendecker, "What's the secret to success?" Leyendecker said, "Always live beyond your means."
That sounds like a Leyendecker line.
Hey, on the topic of
So then there's that.
On the topic of living beyond your means, start posting your work to Instagram. It's hashtag DrawingHive234. Hashtag DrawingHive and Visual Arts Passage posted now. We're going to check it out at the end of the episode.
Ray, do you think
That's pretty hilarious.
I'm sorry, Tony, I thought you were
No,
done.
no, I was, yeah, go ahead.
Ray, do you think he was suggesting that's going to keep you working? Because I put myself in
Yeah.
a situation I had to keep making art to pay my bills.
Yes.
That's
Yes,
terrible.
yes.
That's horrible advice, but
Yeah,
yeah.
he passed away. Yeah,
Yeah.
he got into a lot of debt and he died poor. So but hey, rock and roll, right? He's still we're
And
still
He
talking about
was
him
stressed
today.
very rock and
out.
roll. Yeah.
Guess
Very
what?
YOLO.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
When you're not, yeah. As soon as you can make where money is not like giving you a headache, like, and like if you can like adjust your lifestyle with what you want, if you can do what you love doing, adjust your lifestyle so it works, or adjust your work so it can meet your lifestyle, you can have a pretty happy life. But it's just difficult if you're like, you change your lifestyle with every advancement you have with your career. It's like you start kind of chasing a dragon that's never going to get caught. Um, yeah. Um, on the topic of chasing a dragon, we have a very, very exciting class that is coming out that we've not talked about here. Does anybody remember Visual Arts Passage regular Edward Kinsella?
Heck yeah.
Very excited to have Ted Edward coming back. He is teaching the art of the cover. It's a 5-week workshop.
Oh boy.
I just
It
laugh
is,
when I see that preview there.
it's so funny. I'm not going to play it, but it's hysterical. I said, Ted, I need a 30-second video. I just sent it to me and he was like, I'll get it to you next week. And I was like, can you just make something? He was like, and then he sent this and I was like, oh, that's why you needed a week. But it's Ted is an amazing illustrator. He works in editorial and publishing, and he's done covers for everything. He's worked with Jordan Peele, one of my favorite filmmakers ever. He's done,
Folio.
yeah. Why can't I think of Stephen King? Is some amazing work. John, I'm sure you can
On
say
his
more
fourth
about
Stephen King novel right now for
Yeah.
Folio Society. He's done Time Magazine cover. He's done,
Yeah.
Criterion Collection.
yeah,
It's
yep.
So basically
Um,
during this class, Ted is going to teach you everything you need to know about making a great cover. You'll have the option to make a cover for either film, album artwork. It could be streaming for something like the Criterion Collection or like a production house like A24, or poster art. Basically, the cover that you want to do, he's going to help you navigate how to make a great piece. And so you'll leave this class with a fully completed cover and a ton of insights into what it takes to succeed doing it. So that is enrolling now. If you just go to a website, you go to online courses, down to workshops, art of the cover. Ted is also maybe the funniest person I've ever spent time with. Ted is
that's funny. That's exactly what I was
hilarious.
going to say, Timmy.
So on top of learning a lot, you're definitely gonna have some laughs. Because he puts on a show.
We need to put one of our students up to it that signs up that we know to say, "Oh, I thought you were going to be really funny."
Yeah, that would be nice. Actually, one of their reviews. Hey Ted, just wanted to pass this course review on to you. It was about you not being funny. Yeah. No, Ted's amazing. He tells amazing ghost stories, but his artwork can be so creepy. I really love it. I actually am really excited. I have the original I have the original artwork from I've one of the pieces original from the Us album that he did.
Yeah, that's so
What?
cool.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, I was really excited about that one. I'll see if I can turn
I
on
have
my
one of his
camera.
thumbnails.
Do you really?
I do from the Outlaw series.
Let me see here. It's hard because it's a dark image and it's behind glass.
Oh,
But-
nice.
And I'm like holding my webcam in a weird way. Yeah, this is terrible. This is awful. There you go.
That's awesome.
It really is, isn't it?
The only thing I have is a bar tab from Ted.
That's nice.
I bought one of the thumbnails from his Misery series for my mom because her favorite Stephen King was Misery.
Oh, nice. Misery. I want to walk around the room. This is great. That's great, Ray. Love it.
Very cool, right?
Trying
That's
to channel
beautiful.
Edward.
I love that. That's awesome,
So
Nikki.
That's
cool.
awesome.
Very nice.
Oh, it really
Need to
is.
find, I need to zoom in and get the right angle.
The likeness is just perfection.
It's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Probably my
It looks really nice on the webcam. I mean, we're also accustomed to, you know, a crisp pane. So it's just like you
No,
get
I
what you
got
get.
to
Whoa.
do some live drawing with him recently. It
Oh,
was
really?
yeah, when
Nice.
he brought his Hartford MFA over to CCAD.
Oh, awesome.
Oh,
Yeah,
so Edward was there.
I
Was
didn't
he?
think so.
Oh, I thought he was Dale there.
It might have been different time.
It was one they were visiting a talk from, oh shoot, his name just I know him
Chris
and
Sickles.
the one who did the Aragon Dragon book covers for the YA series.
Oh,
He
I
was
don't
a
know.
CCAD grad back in the day, but they were Chris brought his Hartford MFA class in to see the talk, and John Jude Palancar, that's it.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And afterwards, there was a live drawing session that everyone participated in.
Oh, nice. Bet there was some good drawers there.
I think so. I was mostly concerned with trying to make it look like I could still draw since he last had me in a class. Because there's nothing like sitting next to your very iconic professor, wondering if he remembers any of your projects and wondering if he might judge how you're drawing now.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He's heard this, but I'm going to say it to you because it's something that happened to me when I first put the Illustration Academy together, thinking I was the smartest guy in the world. I was going to have all of these, great illustrators come and teach me. I was going to learn from them, and I was really up about it, excited about it, and never considered having to go sit next to them and in between them in figure drawing. And so the first night of figure drawing, I'd go in and like set my stuff up early, thinking I'm going to get a good spot. Then when I came back after like helping people with materials and stuff, Gary Kelly's sitting on my right and my father's sitting on my left, and Chris Payne is sitting on the other side of them. I was a disaster. I thought it was I am now the dumbest person that ever walked the planet.
Well, I was sitting amongst them too, and I felt even more of a disaster as your student, looking at you art gods just churning out figure drawings like it was effortless.
Someone asked earlier, I can't find it now, but like basically like how do you foster ambition or competitiveness? That's a tough one. I would say if you're lucky, you're born, well, I mean, I don't know, because it can be your enemy too. But it's one of those things that a lot of people, I think it's either like subconsciously coached into them over a long period of time, but or it's something they find that is they're really passionate about, and it's because you really care about it. It's weird because competitiveness can be a side effect of just insecurity too. So I don't know, like healthy competitiveness. I don't know. I would say like, how do you foster that? You think you have to be really, I think you'd have to really think really hard about like why you want to be competitive about it, you know?
I think
What do you
some of
think?
it's part of your environment. It's like if you
Yeah.
have brothers and sisters that you're competitive with. I mean, my family was hugely competitive, especially my father and I, just like sports and stuff like that, other things outside of art.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, John. Try playing pickup basketball with the most competitive players ever. This is what I've done. I'm not competitive when it comes to playing pickup, but you play with, against five guys that are competitive, all of a sudden you're very competitive.
Absolutely.
You can't exist in that environment without being it.
Right.
You're kind of forced.
No, I kind of said this earlier tonight too. It's like those artists that were my father's peers that I was around a lot, they were competitive people. I mean, they competed with each other, and they played games with each other. They played tennis and golf and darts and pool. Everything was
Yeah.
about uh, poker, and everything was about the game. They entertain
Mhm.
themselves.
I do think the best way to be competitive though is against yourself, because I know it's really trite, but comparison is the theft of joy. Um,
Unless you thrive on it.
yeah.
I used to love getting beat because it showed it there was nothing so much that clarified what I needed to do next as losing.
Interesting.
A good way of looking at it. It's like this is how I can be better, right?
Mhm.
It also means you're perfect for the arts because I feel like you have to live by that.
I mean, it's part of its developing an attack instinct, and it's hard to really become competitive if you are, we all went through, we were all college freshmen and feeling like we wanted to just do our work in some corner and not ever get looked at. But I think that if you build a community, you'll naturally build competition. And if you set goals, you'll
Yeah.
naturally enter competition.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
But find contests. Like the Folio Society has a contest every year. That is a great
Mhm.
introductory, like having the goal of just entering it, and then maybe you don't get in the short list or the long list the first time. Then you think, okay, well, these people did. What are they doing right? And how can I understand how to get to that point without necessarily sacrificing how I like to work?
Mhm.
Competitiveness in art is um, to keep going, learning how to, I think we compete, like Timmy was saying, we compete with ourselves. You do it in art all the time because you fail all the time. You have to fail at art to get better at it. And you got to be able to, and I'm proving it right now. You got to be able to accept failure as an artist a lot. I mean, even really successful artists fail more than they succeed. So I think it's part of the mindset of an artist.
Yeah. Um, People can probably figure out like what I've been reading, because I was gonna say you could also look into Stoicism. It helps me a lot, which is just like a kind of like an ancient uh philosophy on thinking, um and like how to remain like clear-headed with your like thoughts and not be like overcome with emotions, like so like Nikki, like so like losing in a situation where you lose, your obsession is not over losing, but it's actually your energy is focused on like, okay, now I know why I lost, or like why I underperformed my expectations.
I
And
always say
so
that
like,
I have to do something wrong
yeah.
about 3 times before I really learn to do it right, and then I never do it wrong again.
Uh-huh.
I had
That's
a
cool.
I had a friend who set a goal of like it was insurmountable in a year, but she was just like, I want 99 rejections this year. Because if I have 99 rejections, that means I tried for at least 99 things. And so like the
Yeah.
more you get used to trying for things, one, the rejection starts to hurt less. You start to like be more aware of what's going on in the area you're trying for. You can assess who's winning and why and what that looks like. And it helps you assess where you are in the midst of that too. And that can be really good.
Nice. Somebody said I'm more of like into Epicureanism, which I might get into that too. It is about emphasizing the pursuit of pleasure and the avoidance of pain. I get down with that.
That might be a healthier mindset too.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with what you said, Cassandra. I just saw that and I was like, oh, that's funny.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's that idea though of like, I mean, the most common thing, like not the most common, but a very common question we get is like, what do you do about artist burnout and stuff? And it's like, I mean, John, I don't know who originally said this, but it's like you're working in somebody John knows, you're working in the toy aisle of life. You know, it's
It's actually Chris Payne said that.
oh, nice.
We work in the toy department of art.
Which I get.
Life.
I do get that sounds like we'll stop complaining and you know, but it is just one of those things where it's like you can choose like to like, I don't know, the like gratitude for just being like, oh man, you got up to draw today, you know, that's cool. You got to draw today, right?
I do acknowledge though that burnout can be real if you accept a lot of like I had some burnout last year and but what I noticed I didn't do is it didn't stop me from wanting to do art. It made me just need to take a break from the art that I was selling for a week and just make something for the sake of fun. Like Thursdays help me avoid burnout because this is just fun. Like, how do I paint him? How do I paint Eraserhead? And that is joyful and not about my profession. It makes me a better artist, so it's helpful in that, but it's also just fun. So finding ways to have projects that you look forward to helps, you know, after in a very intense time of creating. At least for me, that was successful.
Yeah. I guess I've had such terrible, terrible jobs, right? That it like doesn't really create. I don't have to use my imagination that much to imagine how much worse my day could be. Does that make sense? Like, and so like I think like I'm very much like imagine that day, you know, where I imagine the job where I had to like dress up and like go into a cubicle and I think about you know, I think about what that day used to look like for me and I'm just like, gosh, so lucky. You know, I'm not trying to belittle anybody that experiences burnout. I totally get it. And I think Cassandra, I think your advice on that is like dead on. It's just like give yourself like allow yourself to breathe. Right?
Yeah, that's when I start making like cardboard animal heads and finding pigments to make from outside. Like that's when I'm doing that stuff.
Yeah. I do have a gratitude list every morning and my gratitude is never better than like the week after my back has gone out. You know what I mean? Because you're like, I got a working back. How great is this? You know, like nothing could go wrong. I have my back. You know? But yeah. Gratitude lists. I highly recommend them. All right. Cassandra, tonight is looking kind of different for you. What you did a little splatter technique. Have you done this before?
Well, I was seeing all this like atmospheric debris around him, so I was splattering with my brush. I will tell you, it's everywhere. It's like I'm gonna have to clean my computer keyboard after drawing Hive.
Oh, that is so cool, Cassandra.
Yeah, I don't know if we can see the splatter all over my keyboard, but I had fun making a mess. I was hoping you were going to pick Eraserhead because I thought he looked fun. You know who had hair like this? Lyle Lovett. Didn't he have hair like that?
Yeah, still does. He
Oh,
had great hair. Yeah, he had, his hair was a big part of his overall presence.
yeah. I watched two documentaries that I enjoyed. I watched the one on John Williams. That was fun to just kind of going through his movies and knowing that he was just Johnny who stumbled into composing. He was more of a jazz guy. And then I watched like I just did a piece that was like of Ludo from Labyrinth. So I watched the documentary called The Idea Man that's all about Jim Henson. You guys hear about those ones?
No, what was it?
Yeah, it's just all about just Jim Henson and like where he started. Like he never meant to be into puppets. Like that was never his thing. He actually more wanted to be like an actor or a filmmaker.
Mhm.
And puppets just ended up being his entry into filmmaking and the arts. And it was just kind of cool to watch how he developed his voice and finding other creatives. Like his first partner was his wife. I didn't know that they did like TV and commercials initially together, and they were the original production company.
Wow.
So those are two fun documentaries.
They featured Jim Henson pretty substantially in the SNL like biopic on the first episode because Jim Henson was on
Yeah,
set
they
for
go
that,
into that.
and it is hysterical because the entire cast, everyone in production, they just all terrorized Jim Henson. and, and he's like devastated by it because he so believes in his puppets, but nobody has seen what like no one has seen the potential, and
Mhm.
everybody just thinks of him as this weird guy who's obsessed with puppets. And he's just tormented by them, and it's hilarious. Uh,
Well, and I didn't know how much he was trying to avoid kind of creating Sesame Street because he wanted to be more of a serious filmmaker. And then once he
uh,
started to do it, then he loved it because he realized he was able to like really reach an audience and children.
I didn't know that. Yeah,
And then
it
how
is.
hard he had to push for the Muppet Show. Like nobody wanted to pick it up.
It is interesting how something that is packaged, like when something can be packaged and so silly, so not serious, but is people who take it so seriously. It's really beautiful, right? Right? Like the amount of work that like the blood, sweat, and tears he put into the Muppets, and
Hmm.
everybody just sees it as this like heartwarming kind of, it's just puppets. Like what,
Yeah.
but like you can see it, like you would have been able to tell if he didn't, like,
Right. You have to do it really well to pull it off. But if
Mhm.
you pull it off, then no one really thinks about the work that it took to do that.
Yeah, because preceding that, probably that was groundbreaking.
Yeah,
Be
he
like,
created that market. Like that wasn't occurring before him. Like puppets existed, but not,
right.
for TV and
Yeah, they actually give him a quote that's actually really sweet where he's like talking to Lorne Michaels and he's like, and he's just telling this, he's trying to tattle on people for everything they're doing to him. And he's like, Lorne, I really believe that these puppets can tell stories that matter. and literally everybody's like, okay, Jim.
Yeah.
Which you're kind of like, who can blame them? Like they didn't know, it's like the stock was not high at the time, we all have the
yeah,
benefit of knowing, you know. But yeah.
but he got the last laugh on that, right?
Yep, he totally did. Wow.
Trying to imagine that, him trying to explain that to John Belushi.
They show a couple interactions. It's hilarious. Wow, John, that's awesome.
Oh, that's so cool,
Oh,
John.
that's good.
That's awesome.
Well, you know, this is one night I can say it does look better on camera.
Nice.
Absolutely fantastic to me.
Has anybody we're like, I think they announced Academy Award nominees. Do you all have any favorite books or movies of 2024 that really like shifted your creative energy or inspired you or anything like that?
Not of 2024 yet, but well, actually, I do. I'm not going to talk about it, but I'm just going to mention, because we mentioned Robert Henry and the Art Spirit.
Yeah.
Definite read for any artist. You need to read it.
Who is who?
Robert Henry,
Right.
painter that we talked about earlier.
Okay.
And he wrote a book called The Art Spirit, and it's full of lessons and his point of view of making art, and it is really, really good. And then the reason I was thinking about this is that Elena Hedman mentioned a new book that I can't remember the name of it, but it made me think about an old book about art called The Art Spirit by Thomas Wolfe. I didn't bring that up last week, did I, Cassandra?
No.
But it's
Thinking
definitely
about the painted word.
The Painted Word. It's a great
Nice.
book. It's kind of a satire on the New York art world during the 60s through the 80s.
So it's fiction or is it,
There's real people in it.
but is it fiction or is it
No.
like,
It's no,
okay.
it's kind of in between,
Like a
right?
treatise. It's
Yeah.
like a treatise on art, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I'm still reading the same book that I was reading last time I recommended a book. So
Well, you're like reading a big, dense book.
yeah, I brought my nephew to my dad's house and I was like, you can pick out one book, any book, go get it. And he came back with War and Peace.
It's the biggest, it's gotta be the best.
I told him, I said, I bet if you open this book, Teddy, you will have read more of it than anyone else has. Yeah. Yeah. I remember there was a joke that was what does a phone book and the book War and Peace have in common?
What?
Too many characters. Yeah. But yeah, so that would be Teddy's recommendation, War and Peace.
Thank you, Teddy.
Yeah, nice one, Ted.
I've been
Man.
revisiting some books that I
Yeah, we're always game for a revisit. It doesn't have to be fresh.
so I've been rereading a lot of my Ray Bradbury books.
Ooh.
Oh,
And then
nice.
discovering that there were still
Nice.
more short story collections that I never had. So now I'm on a race. Make sure
Which-
I've read all of them.
When was the last time you read them?
So I became a Ray Bradbury fan in high school, and I've reread Fahrenheit 451 and The Illustrated Man several times since then, but
Okay.
sometimes not some of the Mars Chronicles ones I don't remember as well. Or I'll
It's like
remember bits and pieces.
Dandelion Wine.
That was one I had not read.
Yeah, it's just lovely imagery.
And he was always my favorite author. And then you realize there's stuff you haven't read by them.
It's funny. My favorite authors that the last time I read Ray Bradbury was definitely in high school, you know? And it's funny because a lot of the authors that I didn't like in high school and the ones that I loved in high school, like they've completely switched. Hemingway being the most, I mean, you go to an all boys school, they force you to read Hemingway. It's like they're like, here's here's the curriculum. It's just like 10 Ernest Hemingway books. And I thought it was the coolest. And I tried rereading like The Sun Also Rises, and I was like, I'm not saying it's a bad book. I just was like, yeah, I've I've aged out of this one. um Whereas I think like Margaret Atwood was like one that I remember like in like I spark noted it in high school and then like revisited it now, and you're like, oh, this is page turner.
Did they
Mm.
did they push Steinbeck real hard on you?
Yeah, it was one or the other. They're like, you either have to love Steinbeck or you either have
Yep.
to like Hemingway. And I think everybody picked up a Hemingway book and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna go with Hemingway.
Yeah.
They're
Hemingway
like,
always made me
oh,
so mad.
yeah. Yeah. I don't know. There's plenty to be mad at Steinbeck too.
Yeah.
I just always like, yeah, I'm like, so my, 8 pages dedicated to a turtle crossing the road. Yeah, but no, it's fun. I'm having fun, people. I mean, they are like the authors that no one will ever forget about. So I think they won, and I think that's okay.
The stuff's like embedded in my brain, it's just, quotes, visual, more with Steinbeck, like visuals that I
Yeah.
can't get out of my head.
Really,
Yeah.
that's kind of cool to think about. Are you guys pretty visual when you read?
Oh yeah.
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 Big time.
To the point where I ruin myself for any adaptation.
Yes.
Isn't it the worst?
Yeah.
Oh
Are
my
there
God.
are there certain books that don't lend well to that, and as a result, maybe they don't stick as well?
Well, the most obvious example is when I was a kid and I was reading Harry Potter, and
Mhm.
I saw everything so vividly that the movies, I could not get into the movies very well
Yeah.
because I had such a clear and distinct vision of what everyone looked like, what all the spaces looked like.
Yeah.
I had pretty I had very severe dyslexia in grade school. And I mean I still have dyslexia, but I can read. But Harry Potter, like, this is not exactly what happened, but because I got very lucky. They found out. I was like the first generation of them not saying like, oh, this kid's just broke.
Just
Like,
lazy.
yeah. Oh yeah, this kid's he just wants a trophy for
Yeah,
nothing.
you just
Timmy just wants a reading trophy. No, but Harry Potter was like, I went from reading nothing to basically like learning the alphabet and immediately reading like 600-page books
Oh,
of Harry Potter.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
That's
Like,
beautiful.
like, and it was entirely because like, I think my reading comprehension now would be not even, I mean, I became an English major. Like, I think my life would be totally different had I not been given the Harry Potter book
That's great.
Wow.
as
That's
far
awesome.
as far
That's
as reading
beautiful.
goes. And I totally agree. The movies could not connect with them.
Yeah,
Um,
I couldn't do it. I think I didn't even see all of them just because I just could not resonate with them. And it's no shade against the movies. I just
no, yeah.
that whole no, I'm right, and it looked and sounded like this.
Yeah.
Well,
It is always amazing where you're like, man, it's crazy. They picked all these kids out when they were like 10, and they all kind of turned out to be pretty handsome and good looking people. And you're like, I guess that's, I don't know, nurture a little bit, but you're like,
yeah.
yeah.
kind of interesting though. It's like as a parent of a child that was obsessed with Harry Potter,
Yeah.
and I couldn't understand, from me growing up, they would do the announcement of, okay, the new book's coming out. It will be open at this store at midnight on Friday night.
Oh yeah.
Book, and I would have to go at midnight on Friday night. And I was thinking, man, they're doing something right because that I was never that way. And nobody in my school was that way. It was like there was never couldn't wait for this book to come out. Now,
You
on
couldn't wait till the
on other
next
hand,
morning.
yeah,
Yeah.
when Star Wars came out, everybody's, waiting all night long to get into the first show, but it was very different. Harry Potter, that was like a game changer.
Well, you
mean,
bring up something that was a subject of fascination for me because when I was a kid, my parents had me watch Star Wars, and I got obsessed, and I got all the VHS tapes. But I would pester my dad saying, "What was it like? What was it like when Star Wars first came out?" Like I wanted him to describe it to me, all of the lines and all of the anticipation. Um, like I wanted to vicariously live it through him, and I was so upset that I didn't get to live through that. But I was able to catch Harry Potter later on, so.
Yeah,
yeah,
that was its own fad.
yeah,
And it was kind of interesting. I wasn't into it in high school. I mean, I went and I saw it, but I didn't go crazy about it.
right.
And honestly, I never have. But I know Ray's shaking his head right now. Like, what?
How did you know? My camera on?
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah,
just noticed.
Ray, I think I heard Ray say, "You stupid jock."
I did. Internally, I was like, "Psh, I don't need this space drama. I'm gonna go hang out and play
I'm
sports.
gonna go hang out and talk to girls.
Let's go set something on fire, guys."
Yeah,
How did you
yeah.
know?
Just like shoulder the kid walking down the hall.
With the Ray Bradbury book in his hand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
See, it's the opposite for girls. You say you love Ray Bradbury and you love Star Wars, and
yeah.
it's complete opposite way around.
That's
Every
interesting.
guy in the place wants to talk to you.
I barely missed the era of like it's cool to like it's cool to be authentic and love what you love, which I feel like
Yeah.
I'm not saying that bullying doesn't exist now. It obviously does in a big way, but I mean, I think about this all the time. When I was in high school, it was my first day walking in, and there was a stairwell that was like in a public space, and it was where everybody played Magic the Gathering, that played Magic the Gathering. And I remember my older brother, who like was like truly like an older brother, like would like not show affection directly, but did care about me. But like I remember like and at high school wanted to pretend like he didn't know me at all, right? And we walked in and it was like his one piece of advice. He was like, don't go do that. You're gonna get beat up or like bullied. He was just like, just stay away from that. And it's sad, you know. I I mean I look
Yeah.
back at it often as like, oh, it's like this funny thing, but it's sad because like I would totally have done that, but I didn't do it out of fear of like, I wanted to be part of like the larger community. Um, and those kids are like all
They're all
rich now.
successful
They're
ones
all
now.
rich. They're all rich and the coolest kids ever now.
And can afford the
Seriously.
original paintings from Magic the Gathering that are going for tens of
Right.
thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
I saw
Yeah.
one of them the other day, literally posted a photo of his new Rolex, and I was like, God, man.
I played Magic with
As he's holding a magic card.
I'm not
Right.
joking. He really did. He posted a photo of like a $40,000 Rolex, and I was like,
Playing the
and
quick
what he
game in here
and
in
you know what he
Cabo.
does?
What time is it?
And you know what he does? He designs games. Yeah. He's a very wealthy guy in California.
Good for him.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I went to a very different type of high school than you, it seems, because we voted our trombone player as homecoming queen.
That's awesome.
That's pretty awesome.
Our prom king was
What
big
year did you
ol' art nerd.
graduate? What year did you graduate?
05.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, you went to an awesome high school. I went to the high school where they were like, you like Hemingway or Steinbeck? Don't go under the stairs.
And don't play Magic the Gathering.
Yeah. No, yeah. It it's I think it's more reflective of the era and also like the Midwest at the time and all that. But yeah, I think about that all the time. I'm like, oh, it's sad, but those kids did great. Um Everybody start posting your work to Instagram. We got 3 minutes, then we're heading over there. I've got Zoom loaded on the phone. Instagram's ready. There will be no delay. So
Look at you.
yeah, I'm not
Timmy's
joking around.
ready.
I've messed this up the past couple weeks. It's not happening today.
My glare is crazy.
It looks great.
Yeah, I just got a lot of glare.
I didn't notice how uneven his ears are. I know.
Yeah, I painted mine super uneven. Now you say it, now I gotta fix it.
Who do you think is like the most symmetrical person?
Elizabeth Taylor.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Steven Seagal.
Steven Seagal. It's just like
Don't
cutting
even
a
think about it,
marshmallow.
Steven Seagal.
That's just like cutting a marshmallow in half. It's just
Steven Seagal.
just round. Just
How quickly you said it too.
Steven Seagal.
I'm a
Yeah, you
cook.
had that loaded. You were gonna say that for anything. It's funny no matter what. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like we've talked this about this on nights when we're drawing or painting exceptionally pretty people. Like, I don't like painting them. They're not
Oh.
interesting.
You got it. It's not as much fun, is it?
I mean,
No,
you only have to, can't you just do one side and just
it's just so hard because like it has to be perfectly symmetrical, and you have to find the tiny thing that differentiates them as like uniquely beautiful.
have you seen where they get a photo of people with symmetrical faces, they cut it in half, and then you're like, okay, looks a little weird, but normal-ish.
Yeah,
But the
Yeah.
person with not symmetrical face, they can look kind of normal with that, but when you cut it in half and mirror it, it is terrifying.
yeah.
It's so strange. Oh, somebody said Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Except for his teeth.
Well, that's
Probably
what
got
they
the
said.
most
They said
symmetrical run.
he has literally has a center tooth.
Yep.
Yeah. You split, John, that line goes right through the middle of that center tooth. It goes right through it. We're cutting the tooth in half. Yeah.
If you want to know, if you want to get that joke, come to study hall.
Yeah.
Oh, we had a drawing hive night where we like broke down the center tooth, and we were like debating, or we had to pull up Dale's illustration. Do you remember? We're like, did he do the center tooth or not do the center tooth on that Tom Cruise piece?
Oh yeah. He did not.
Oh yeah.
We I remember we did a deep dive on the center tooth discussion.
Yeah. That's funny. We should do a big teeth night. We
Yeah.
could do Tom Cruise, Gary Busey, and then 2 other people. We're set.
Steven Tyler.
Yeah, so like
Oh.
Ray, we were saying we could have like a hair night
Done.
where like you do crazy cool hair, and we could have like a teeth night if we want. In honor of Dale, we could have an ear night.
Yeah. I like the hair night. What we'll call it Timmy's mood board. And it'll it'll be my Turkish hair transplant mood board for what I'll show my doctor when I go to get the hair. Yeah. Man, I wish I could have the David Lynch hair. It makes me mad looking at it.
Do you want to like know if he appreciated his good hair?
He didn't.
I guarantee he didn't.
He
Yeah.
didn't.
I have a friend.
Just look at him. Just look at him, Timmy.
He definitely didn't.
There.
He probably was one of those guys that would shave it off just to spite you. I have a friend from high school, beautiful David Lynch hair, shaves his head. And it's like Matt Damon in Good Will Hunting, where it's just like you're just sitting on a lottery ticket, man. What's wrong with you? Like we're all just working at this construction site. Yeah.
Xander, I don't know if this is photoshopped or not, but Xander posted a Tom center tooth photo.
I do think that it is fake, but it's like one of those things where it's like I'm okay with the misinformation of Tom Cruise's
Yeah,
synergy.
you appreciate the artistry. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny.
Yeah. I'm just like, I'll spread that knowing it's not true.
Tom's had plenty of good things happen to him.
Yeah, I think he'll be okay.
Right.
Ooh,
All
already
right,
looks
people. Some
awesome.
good stuff. Here we go. Are you ready to see some art?
Heck
Yes.
yeah.
Do it.
Let's do it.
Oh, wow, Alberto.
Look at that.
I love it.
No audio, people.
Chuck, that's fantastic.
All right.
Yeah.
I think the expressions on the Eraserhead one's really great.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
really is.
Ooh, Addie, that's lovely.
That's awesome. I love that.
Sport doodly.
Great.
Great. Oh, nice, Charlotta.
Good
Oh,
stuff.
Jess is lovely.
Love it.
Love a good eyebrow.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
really nice.
Oh, wow. Love
Nice.
So good. Wow, Melissa. Oh, I love that.
that.
Great.
That's great.
Ooh, that's cool. It's really cool.
Lynch would
Wow.
appreciate.
Wow, Sally.
That's awesome,
Let's
Sally.
go.
Oh, very
Wow.
cool.
So cool. Fantastic.
Panel.
Mm,
Nice.
lovely. Wow.
Nice.
Killer, Tyler. The smoke and everything.
Yeah,
It's
the
awesome.
smoke too.
We should have an eye patch night.
Ooh, I like
Yeah.
that.
Oh, that'd be good.
Oh, that's fun.
Nice.
Great job.
Wow. Good
Wow.
job, Eric.
Really nice,
Eric.
That's awesome. That's so much fun.
Yes.
Man.
Oh, that's
Wow. Oh,
Ooh,
nice.
Love it.
really good, Charlotta.
Wow.
Wow, Michael. Beautiful.
Wow.
Whoa.
Ooh.
So
Okay.
good.
Damn.
Great job.
God. Whoa. People are
Fantastic.
bringing the heat.
Yeah, they are.
Oh
Wow.
my God.
Like the shadow.
Lovely. Oh, that's great.
Oh, nice.
Really good.
Awesome.
I love how that was handled. Great job.
Oh,
Great
nice.
Jolly Crow.
Oh, nice crow.
Really nice.
Killer.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's
Fun.
cool.
Mm.
Super fun.
Nice.
Oh, I love that.
Nice.
That's cool. Is
So much fun.
Yes.
that Haruka?
Yeah, it is.
Great.
Great work.
Great job. Oh, that's so
I
fun.
love that.
Great job,
Pretty
Virgie.
sweet.
Oh, look at that.
Man, so good.
Awesome.
Always so good. Ooh,
Nice.
awesome.
Oh,
Really
nice.
nice.
Really nice.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
Oh my God. Looks like a
two burnt fingers.
What was that,
looks like a
John?
Sheila.
Yeah. Awesome. Nice.
nice, Terry.
Good job, Terry.
And
Nice,
Marcy.
Marcy. I love the cheeks always.
Signature move.
Wow,
Yes.
that's cool, Jeff.
Feel it.
Oh, that's lovely.
Nice.
You really captured it well.
Good drawing.
Like that one too. That's great.
Yeah. Ooh.
There you go.
That's fun. Look
Ooh,
at that.
Oh,
AJ.
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 That was cool. Nice
Wow.
People got
Very
the
nice.
expression really well.
one. Mm-hmm. Karen, that was really good.
Very much so.
Great job. Oh, that's
I love
cool.
that. I like that one.
I always love her shape work.
Whoa.
Wow, Robert.
Wow. Good
You-
one.
Yes. Great job, Danny.
Whoa,
Oh,
Randy.
Nice.
wow. Randy, so dang good.
I'm gonna say,
So good.
whoa.
The eyes.
Yeah,
Jeez. Oh my
Oh,
God.
wow.
fantastic.
This is a new person. That's awesome.
Let me see that.
I
name
love
again.
it.
Awesome. So great.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Great stuff. You got
So is that.
scroll. You got a scroll back. A scroll back is a
So
big
cool,
deal.
AJ.
Yeah.
Scroll back is the highest
Oh,
compliment.
that one's my favorite you did tonight. Oh, that's cool. So
Rock,
nice.
rock, paper, scissors. Nothing beats scroll back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
great job. Really nice.
A lot of people tonight. Thanks for
That's a
joining.
nice drawing.
Wow.
There
Mhm.
it
I like
is.
that a lot.
That's awesome. Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Very
nice.
cool. Nice.
Here you go,
very-
Terry.
Terry.
Mhm.
All right.
Nice.
Oh, that's
Good.
nice.
Lovely.
Damn.
A lot of new people.
Too,
A lot of
man.
Yeah,
welcome.
y'all brought it tonight.
Come back next
I
week.
can see this, just that top glare in that eye. Yeah, there's Xander. Nice.
Xander.
Sander.
Jeez.
Beautiful.
Oh
Oh,
man,
that's
that's
so
awesome.
fun. Yes.
That is really awesome. Oh, cool.
Great likeness. Great job,
It
Tony.
really
Corporate
is.
portrait.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
that is awesome.
That's hilarious.
Love it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
I like that
The
Efren
Bluey.
added Bluey. Well done. Well
Yeah.
done.
Shout out to Bluey.
Yeah.
Shout out, Bluey.
Bluey's
Yeah.
always
Also
welcome.
created by David Lynch.
Can you imagine Bluey done as by David Lynch?
Yeah, one of his more twisted creations.
Bluey velvet.
Oh,
That's good. John wins.
that's cool, Valerie.
Bluey velvet.
That's
Oh,
really nice,
stuff.
Juan.
Very well
Killed it.
done.
Great job,
Thanks,
Terry. You got
Terry.
a lot done.
Yeah.
Really nice. Good
Terry-
expression.
Terry's doing great.
She is.
Machine. Always pretty.
Yes.
Man.
Look at that hair.
That's great hair.
Love that.
Ooh.
Nice, Xander.
Wow. That was good.
There you go.
Great job.
Oh, I love that one too, Nicole.
Oh, that's so fun.
That's great.
That's great. That's really
Yes.
good.
Awesome.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
These
Oh,
really
that's
lend
perfect.
themselves well to very 40s looking stills.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Getting a lot of
wild.
really good fun 40s.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, Terry, that one was my
Wow.
favorite.
Yeah, Terry. I agree.
So good.
Yeah.
Yes. I like that the hair continued into like the next one.
Yep. it
Oh, I
gets
just
sucked
noticed that.
Oh, nice.
It got its own
I
panel.
love that, John
Killed it.
Ford. I love it.
Yes.
Oh.
That one is awesome.
This is good. More
Bluey.
Bluey. Love it.
All right, we're gonna do a Bluey night.
John Ford talking to Bluey. Imagine an episode directed by him.
Yeah.
Epic.
Oh,
Oh, that's
oh my God,
cool.
that's great.
A lot of people tonight.
Great job.
Great stuff.
Wow.
Love it so much.
Right.
Love-
Nice.
I love this.
uh,
These young Hive members. Great stuff.
Fantastic.
man.
Just keep coming.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Ooh, that's fun.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, Rebecca.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Great job.
That's a hard angle.
Dang,
Just
Felicity.
say I have,
Whoa,
I have to
Felicity.
think that angle intimidated. Intimidated.
Yeah.
This
Love the eyebrow.
this family, it's all just like it's just a machine there.
Yeah.
It's like a factory of
Oh,
turning out artists.
Look, wait, go back up. That's her neighbor. She said she posted it for her neighbor. So
Oh.
Rebecca had
Uh-huh.
Rebecca, her daughter, and her neighbor tonight.
See, yeah, it's
Amazing.
half our listeners.
Great job. Oh, that's cool.
Look at that one too.
Awesome.
Wow.
Fantastic. Oh man,
Wow.
everybody did
Great.
so good.
This is awesome. What a good one to end on. This is
Mhm.
awesome.
Great one.
Everybody, thanks so much for tuning in tonight. Nikki, it was so great having you as a guest. Thank you so much for
Thank you,
joining.
Nikki.
Thanks so much for
So
drawing
fun
with
to
us,
meet
Nikki.
you.
Yeah.
Join us
everybody,
anytime, Nikki.
Oh, I'd love to. Next time I'll
Yeah.
zoom in.
We've got some fun guests on the horizon. Afua Richardson is next up to bat, so she'll be on the panel. If you don't know her work, look it up. It's amazing. That's an Eisner Award-winning comic book artist. She's worked on Black Panther, and she's awesome.
Oh, she's so good.
Fantastic artist, really nice person.
Yep, and big fan of Drawing Hive. So she is going to be on the Hive. So everybody, thanks for tuning in. If you do want to check out cover art, that's a great course. It's 5 weeks, so it's an easy one to hop into. Great one to, dip your toes if you've never taken a class with us too. So everybody, that was awesome.
Fun night, everybody. Cassandra, Raymond, thank you for joining. Obviously, Nikki, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right,
Thanks,
everybody.
everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great week.
Bye.